And we have curling controversy, too, huh?
A lot of cheating, man.
Oh, that Canada guy?
Yeah.
Boy.
And he wasn't taking any crap from the Swede, was he?
Yeah, but the Swede was right.
He double pumped it, right? Or double touched,
Well,
kissed it?
you can't give it a push with your finger.
The Canadians got to know that, too.
Sure. I'm ready. Josh Arnold, investment consultant, brings you Garage Logic podcast number 1717, Feb 16, 2026. 60 degrees on this day in 1981 and 26 below on this day in 1936. Call Josh Arnold at 952-925-5608 for a free 48-minute consultation.
Hail the flashlight king.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Heidt in the newsroom, and of course, the rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Souchere.
Our show has friends in Aiken, Minnesota.
Yes.
Bill Stein's up there.
AITKIN.
Steve Wilson. And Steve Wilson sent me an email, and he said, I'm out mopping the floor of our garage. And he sent me a picture of the garage. It's just absolutely gorgeous.
Yep.
I'm out mopping the floor of our garage up in Aiken, and China Grove came on WWII. Let me stop right there.
Local station.
He's got a beautiful garage with the epoxy floor, and it looks like it's at least 4 to 5 car garage. And he's listening to WWII. Don't you have a sound system out there in a garage like that?
He's a simple man.
Okay.
Julie married a simple man.
All right. I think I can speak for your audience that we all have a case of the bleepits, given our current state of affairs in Minnesota, and could use a little Coyote McLeod. Would you be so kind as to play that so we can smile again? We are, in fact, the greatest nation in the world, and we can't lose sight of that.
Walk up your seat, the coyotes on the howl tonight.
You go upstairs and talk to the Warriors then.
Will never be equaled. Never be equaled.
The man with 7 weeks of vacation will now have 52 weeks of vacation
We've played it before.
on the council.
Oh.
Well, that wasn't the entire song.
Well,
that was
I hope,
that was with
Tom,
commentary.
I hope my Aiken people know how much I appreciate them for the risk I took in playing that. Do you know what our former president, Barack Obama, is up to?
Yes, and
He's dropping alien bombs all over the place.
Thank you. That's right. He is dropping an alien bomb. Apparently, he was interviewed. I don't know who was interviewing him. I didn't see the interview, but I saw the clip of it where he said that aliens are real, but he hasn't seen them. But he has seen the data and the material classified, and he has no doubt that they're real. I mean, that's Obama.
Did you see his follow-up?
No.
He said he issued a statement to clarify that.
Oh, yeah?
He said he has no evidence or anything, and he's never seen anything.
Yeah, I
he
said
just
that.
assumes because the universe is so big
Well, it's the Fermi
that
theory.
there's other aliens out there.
You know,
somewhere.
Fermi, the astrophysicist who said, "Where is everybody?"
right.
And it's axiomatic that the stranger things get in the country, the more likely you are to get UFO sightings because they're on the increase on the internets. So the more the more, what am I trying to say? As things get goofier, we
More
get
complex.
more. Thank you.
Yeah.
We
When the
get
going
more
gets-
UFO sightings.
When the going gets weird,
When the going gets weird.
turn pro.
Who's the gal that spoke in tongues for a stellar event? Hesh.
Anne Hesh.
Remember Anne? Weren't these stellar events always preceded by a movie star or somebody of notoriety going crazy, and then we would have UFO sighting or something
Well,
like
no, 9/11 was preceded by shark attacks, Anne Hesh speaking in tongues,
Okay.
and some senator who couldn't find his secretary or something.
that. That's, yes, that number. Okay, that was pre 9/11. Got it. Gotcha.
In the case of President Obama, I think the cover-up is more telling than the original statement. Not the cover-up, the retraction, so to speak, because that, to me, proves that there are aliens. Somebody got to him and said, you're going to have to make a correction there, former president.
Well, maybe John saw this as well, but I also thought he said that he was not allowed in Area 52.
No, he said Area 51.
51.
I mean, 51.
52, you can go anywhere.
He said the opposite. He said there is nothing in Area 51.
Oh, I thought
that
he said he
would
couldn't
indicate-
get in there.
No, I have the story. Maybe I can find the quote.
Now, that being said, what he said about the sitting president and the monkey picture,
I'm unaware that he said anything.
he just said, he was on a podcast. It was just on the morning news today, and I think he handled it with grace, where he didn't go back to rip. He just said, I think what is currently happening, we all understand, and it's just not. It's not normal. He handled it with grace.
Ideologically, he's not my cup of tea, but compared to the sitting president, he's articulate and
Yes,
graceful and
and
charming. And
I still would like to. He's
Just
one of the
a
guys I'd like to
low
sit down and have a beer with in the backyard.
Snake, are you kidding me?
I
Are
would
you
not.
kidding me?
That I would not.
I would.
want
I
to-
would like to pick his brain.
Oh, my God.
Now, I don't think he was a great
I would
president.
like him
I
to
think
sit down so I can stand and point and yell at him for about 3 hours.
I said I'm not an ideological fan of his, but compared to the mess we're in, he could at least express himself.
He was the reason for the mess we're in. He started it all.
I got to turn off my mic now.
I'm going to say it one more time. Ideologically, I don't agree with him. As a human being who could actually function, he's okay. He was at the NBA All-Star game. Did you see that?
Yeah. I think he's the kind of guy, if you are sitting at the table, he would allow you to call him Barry.
Yeah, I don't care. But never mind. I'm sorry I brought it up.
I really
Okay, I
am.
can turn my mic back on.
Yeah, come on, John. join
I
the
have
show
an
again.
Olympic roundup I'd like to get into.
wow.
We haven't spoken a lot about the Olympics. I'm terribly impressed with the mountain those skiers go down.
Maria, turn off. This is a primetime preview.
Well, I have no idea. I'm not going to announce any victories because I have no idea what's going on. But there is I have a bit of contention here. We have a Chinese. I think I'll choose to dislike China. There's no Russia to hate, so it's almost the same to hate China.
okay.
But China's got a gal. What is she? She's a snowboarder named Eileen Gu. Absolutely a lovely young woman, just knocked down gorgeous.
Yeah.
Well, she's paid by she goes to school here in the United States, and she trains here in the United States, and she uses our snow. You know, that's U.S. snow.
Our snow.
That's our snow
Yes.
she's using.
Yeah.
And the commies pay her outrageous sums of money to compete for them. Well, what the hell? Then stay in China and use their snow.
I suppose amateur status, that's gone out the window.
Winter Olympic star Eileen Gu is one of the most marketable athletes at the games. She's the snow princess. She earned $23 million in 2025 through endorsements.
Oh, she's not being paid by the Chinese government.
Well, just settle down. Gu has modeled for brands like Louis Vuitton, Tiffany. According to a news report, she is being paid handsomely to represent China. So all her money is not endorsements. The commies write her a check, too. She's American-born, raised in San Francisco to an American father and Chinese mother. She opted to represent China when she made her Olympic debut in 2022 in Beijing. A report from the Wall Street Journal shows just how much it pays to switch country allegiances. Gu and U.S. figure skater Zhu Yi shared a $6.6 million payment from the Beijing Municipal Sports Bureau last year. Yi also competes for China and renounced her United States citizenship.
Ooh.
In the report, the athletes reportedly earned $14 million over the past 3 years while working to qualify for the Olympics. See, Jordy alerted me to this because he misses the day when they just competed for medals.
Right.
All right. Gu and Yi's names were wiped from the record when the budget became public. Okay. Now you got a gal. There's no word on how the money was split between Gu and Lee. Gu has had a far more lucrative career outside competition. She won gold. Gu won gold in women's freestyle big air and half pipe in her Olympic debut, while adding silver in slopestyle. She'll aim to add a medal to the medal total in the free ski big air final.
Do you like big air more than the half pipe, or where are you on this?
I can't even say them.
Okay.
So that's one part of it. Now you got this Judah Linderman, Judah. She's a Finn, I think. Mm-hmm. She, too, is just one of the most gorgeous young women you'll ever find. And she gets paid when she finishes the race. She reveals her underwear.
Oh.
She gets $1 million a pop when she takes down the zipper on her quarter zip and shows you these.
We got va-va-voom.
Hello.
She had the whole top off yesterday.
Yeah, and she got a sports bra on or something, but
Sure.
and I can't remember what the manufacturer of it was, but that's who's paying.
You
her.
weren't looking for the tags.
I didn't see it, Matt.
It wasn't Carhartt, that's for
yeah,
sure.
it was not Carhartt.
It wasn't
nice
that
and warm.
It wasn't. I need help in aisle 5.
Got it.
It was. It was right.
You know
there.
what I get paid for wearing this, Joe, right here?
Nothing.
Oh, Carhartt.
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing. But holy mackerel. This ain't the only. I need these old fat Polish women who take drugs and lift weights.
East German.
Yeah. Let's go here.
Those are the Summer Olympics.
Oh,
Come
yeah,
on.
That's right.
It was pointed out to me by my wife that most of these athletes have the clearest and most beautiful skin. They don't have any blemishes.
I think, Matt, I'm going to take a chance to help explain that.
Yeah.
I think the kind of condition they're in, they're so fit, I think that would contribute to their skin quality.
Give me a good half pipe guy with a little rosacea like me.
You don't see that, do you?
I want a half pipe guy that's got the red bulbous nose.
I want lip herpes. Oozing.
Now, John, maybe
The
you could do me a
Oozlympics.
favor. John
Sure, what
Heidt.
do you need, Joe?
Because I meant to look this up, and I didn't. In my steady stream of work this morning, I forgot this one.
Yes.
Has bobsled competition in the Olympics always been on ice? In other
What?
words, in 1956, the games were at Cortina. Did the bobsledders go down ice, or was it
Of course
snow?
they did.
Early tracks, the first tracks, such as the one in St. Moritz, Switzerland, in the 1870s, were natural, banked, and icy, often built on public roads.
Oh,
Over time, the courses transitioned from natural ice to artificial, refrigerated concrete tracks, but have always maintained an icy surface for competition.
okay.
Did you make your own bobsled icy course as a kid?
I tried to make a rink, and all the water ended up in the alley.
I lived in Spring Lake or Prior Lake for a few years as a youth, and we always did that. And our parents, for some reason, were always more than happy to help. I don't know why they
kept you occupied for a while out there.
I don't know why they volunteered to get out the garden hose and ice down a hill, but they did it.
When I was in I don't remember what grade, in grade school, my buddy Tommy Engel and I, 1897 Berkeley, he lived on a hill in the backyard. We made a luge course.
Yeah.
We worked on it for hours.
Ice?
The luge course took about 2.5 seconds.
Yeah.
There was no room, but we thought we were professional lugers for the Olympics.
Now to the cheating scandals.
Okay.
Oh.
More serious part.
There's been
Canada.
some cheating in.
We're talking to you, Canada.
There's been some cheating in curling, where a Canadian guy touched the stone after it left, after it went on its journey, and you're not supposed to do that.
Didn't know that was a rule,
Yeah.
but I do know.
But the saddest one of all is, Matt, Daniel Schofenig of Austria. He came to the games as one of the favorites to take a gold medal in the large hill ski jumping. He's the World Cup gold medal winner during the 24-25 season. This fellow can jump.
Yeah.
He was disqualified because his shoes were too big.
I did see that.
So he had new shoes.
He had the
he
big
said.
clown shoes that
He
didn't
had-
fit
he
into the.
He said, I used new shoes in training, which, by the way, I wasn't very happy with, but I kept them. Unfortunately, I was naive and didn't check the sizes. This was incredibly stupid of me because his new shoes were 4 millimeters over the standard.
Wow, who gets that job?
Yeah, you got to measure the shoes.
Right.
The poor guy was kicked out because his shoes were too big.
Oh, wow, that's pretty.
Could that make a difference?
Wouldn't that be just
apparently?
on his first run? And then they said, you got to go change your shoes.
The penalty was issued after he qualified for the finals. Slovenia's Domen Prebic picked up the gold medal in the event with a total of 301.8 points, and Japan's somebody attained the silver medal, and Poland's Kasper Tomczak got the bronze. And this poor guy, Daniel Schofenig of
He's off
Austria, he's on the sidelines just looking at him because his shoes were too big.
And the Austrians, they're fine in the snow.
That
They know what they're doing on the jumpers.
I feel bad for him. You go all that way, all that training, and how long is 4 millimeters?
That's about 5 miles, right?
I think so.
No, 1/4 of an inch.
I have no idea.
I received a
It's
lot.
between 1/4 of an inch and 5 miles.
Yeah, south of St. Cloud. I received a lot of feedback on the speed skater Michalski.
Yeah, there is a Polish speed skater. It spells the same way.
Lot of text, and that is the way you're supposed to pronounce it.
Michalski.
Michalski. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think it's a relative?
Yeah, it's a he's a third cousin, once removed.
Okay.
He lives in Gdansk.
You've never been to Poland?
I've never been to Poland, but we've traded when we were kids. We traded like pen pal stuff.
Yeah.
And he was a hockey player at the time. He switched to speed skating after a motorcycle accident.
Well, I'll be damned.
Yeah,
That
That's
sounds
fantastic.
like complete BS.
it is.
That's all made
Yeah,
up.
it is. It's all made. I've never met the guy.
See, I would have gone with it if I were you.
If you were going to enter the Winter Olympics, Matthew Michalski, what would your event be?
Hot
What
dog
would you
eating.
do?
My event would be. I would like to ride the bobsled. This luge skeleton, no thanks. But I'd want to be in that 4-man bobsled.
Me too.
But I'd be the entertainment. I would be the entertainment as we're hopping into the car.
You'd be the last guy in.
Yeah, yeah.
The guy in back, though, sits down and puts his head down, and he can't even see out when it's the 2-man bobsled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you suppose? Do you think he's talking to the guy in front? Like, what the hell?
Right.
What
Did
was
you
that?
go left?
Yeah.
What was that bump?
If I was the king of the world,
Yeah.
there would be no luge competition.
Why?
What?
It's well, first of all, why don't you just go get a piece of cardboard and slide down a hill somewhere?
That's
It's the
to me. That's
danger. I'm
also
with
an Olympic
Kenny.
event.
I'm
I
with
would watch
Kenny.
that.
Well, it's
Did you not slide as a kid?
of course I did, but
Well,
there's
what is
only
wrong
one
with
reason to watch luge, and that's to see if somebody dies.
No.
There is no reason
No.
to watch it.
Oh my God, you're so dark.
There's
and
no
bitter.
skill at all. You lay on a sled and hope you don't die.
Lean,
What
there's
is
some lean.
you know what it is? I keep going back to it. You hate fun. You don't like when people have fun.
No, prove me wrong. There's no reason. All you do is get on this thing and then hope you don't die.
Oh my God, they're
Period.
rocketing up the side onto the plywood and they're
Yeah.
bouncing all over and
Pushing
they're
their feet left and
fishtailing.
right to kind of.
Now there's
Steer the
one.
thing.
I didn't know they had this called monobob. That's where
I
one
have not
guy
seen
or a
that.
gal is just alone in the bobsled.
I
I'll
knew
go
him
with
in high
that.
school.
I didn't see that one.
That's a new one, actually.
Yeah, monobob.
Yeah.
At least you got something around you. If you hit something, you got a fighting chance.
The great thing with monobob is that guy can't control that thing. That thing's bouncing off
Right.
the wall in every turn.
He's
It's
just
awesome.
hoping.
Did you ever see the video of, I think it was a Scandinavian luger training in
Yes.
Vancouver who died during the practice run? Tell me you wouldn't. I would abandon luge. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
I would get Johnny Knoxville and Travis Pastrana together and put together kind of an insane sport for the Olympics, like easy chairs down the luge run,
Yes.
or inner tubes on the ski jump.
Mattress.
Yeah, just something absolutely insane. That would be a
Mattress
lot of
down
fun.
the ski jump.
Yeah.
Well padded.
Inner tubes down the bobsled run is entirely plausible for these morons who run the Olympics.
Wouldn't that be fun?
I'd watch that in a second.
Joe,
I'd
you
watch
have
that
got
more
to-
than luge.
Joe, you have got to unclench, my friend. Life is a lot of fun. You got to join us over here on the fun side.
I
of
think
life.
his Olympic pucker factor is quite high right now.
I don't think it is.
No?
That work out for you? Yeah.
Joe Scrooge. Bah humbug.
You going to take that on a Monday from him?
I don't care.
I don't
he's
think
getting
he
over
heard me.
COVID. He's getting over COVID. He's better now.
I'm with Steve Wilson up in Aiken. I mean, we're dealing with a tough world right now. I don't have any interest in it.
In the Olympics?
It's
That's why the
tax
Olympics-
time, and
That's why it's been so fun for the past week with the Olympics.
but it's tax time, and when you realize all you pay to the state of Minnesota and how poorly it's handled, and
I dare you to look at your W-2 before you send it off. to
you
your
asked me that
accountant.
before the air, before we went on, and what I do is just. I've got a grocery bag going that everything that comes in the mail, it says taxes, I put in the grocery bag.
But I mean, if you kind of have a ballpark number of what you make, but you're not totally sure,
Yeah.
and you're always thinking, oh, how come I only have $100 to my name?
Yeah.
And then you look at your W-2 and you go, there's no way I made that last year.
Yeah, what did I
Why
do
am I
with all
broke
that?
right now? And
What
then
did
you
I do
start
with all
breaking
that?
it down, and it's, well, the state takes this, and the feds take this, and then you got to put this here, and this goes there, and pretty soon you're eating ketchup soup.
No, it's very sobering to study your tax
Yeah, it is.
situation. Very sobering.
I forgot to look at my airport paycheck to find out how much I have put into family leave so far.
You don't. Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're taking money
will
out
our
of
checks reflect that?
Yes, they have to. There will be a line that says
I'll be
maybe
damned.
FMLA. I don't know. That's
But
what I'm
that'll be
saying.
next tax period.
Would we have had? We've been paid
Are-
in 2026.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be for 2026 next year in 2026.
No. He's talking about. Will every check have that?
Yeah, it should.
Every
If you
paycheck
look.
you get, will it have
It should.
what it costs you for family leave?
Oh yeah, look, I've got it here. MN.
No, are you being joking now?
No, I'm being
Okay,
serious.
now how much?
On my taxes, MNPFL.
Okay, how much?
They took $12 out.
$12. You know what? That's your $12.
Yeah,
And then the state will match that 12,
that's me, by the way.
That's me. That's you too.
right?
So
Thanks,
you're
guys.
getting double
Appreciate
billed here.
that.
So
Yeah.
you've
you.
been taxed twice right there. You just lost $24.
Yeah, I'm out. I don't have much more to lose.
I don't think the Family Leave Act is a good idea. ICE announced it was leaving,
Okay, wait,
and
wait, Joe. I'm keeping Luge, no. Family leave, no. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Obama aliens, yes.
Okay, you love Obama.
No, I
Okay,
love the
yes.
aliens. I just couldn't help but noticing. I was reading the Minneapolis Times, and I've told you before, I love what they do with their artwork. It's just a handsome website. Anyway, they've captured the messages that the Minneapolis City Council members sent to their constituents regarding the retraction of ICE from the state. Tom Homan is winnowing it down and It has been quieter the last few days. There are still skeptics who won't believe it until they see it. But we all will admit that things seem a little quieter, wouldn't we? There hasn't been any. And I had a deep thought when I was reading the messages from Robin Wansley and Aisha Chugtai.
Okay, Minneapolis City Council people.
Robin Chugtai addresses hers to "Hi Neighbor," and Wansley goes with "Dear Community." And she said the announcement that Operation Metro Surge will soon end is a concession won by the working class residents of Minneapolis, who showed incredible compassion, courage, discipline, and strength in the face of a state-sanctioned terror. The way residents stood alongside each other. Okay, she's right. Ordinary Minnesotans really put up a fuss, and they were out there during the coldest stretch of the year, and they didn't like what they were seeing. But she goes on to say, that ICE must be abolished. And then she goes on to say, I and some of my colleagues are dedicated to advancing an equitable recovery, one that invests in marginalized communities and doesn't make working class people foot the bill for this campaign of terror. Residents have already given everything to protect their neighbors. The city of Minneapolis must invest in an equitable recovery for all residents. Okay, we really don't know what that means. Last week, council approved my proposal to invest $1 million into rental assistance to prevent evictions for families who have been impacted by Operation Metro Surge. Next week, council will vote on the ordinance I'm authorizing to slow down the eviction process. Next week, council will also have the opportunity to invest $5 million into small business residency. And she goes on to say, where is this here? We need more than a reduction of agents. We need ICE fully out of our state and city, and she doesn't want to have ICE. Okay. Now you go to Chugtai, and she writes something similar. We can't ever forget the horrors carried out by the federal agents. They roamed our streets in mass and abducted our neighbors, racially profiled residents, brutalized observers, violated our safe spaces in schools and places of worship. That's all true. And they terrified and stole children from their families. We know that today's announcement has not changed the goal of the Trump administration, mass deportations that tear apart our families, friends, and neighbors as a community. I hope we keep our arms wrapped around each other. That begins with real transparency from all the individuals who have been meeting with the Department of Homeland Security leadership. That's why I'm calling on our elected leaders in Minnesota to immediately provide details to the public about what, if anything, was agreed to for our agents to leave, because we need to deserve the transparency. Okay, here's what I would deduce from these two messages. The others were not dissimilar. Chugtai, for example, is demanding to know if any deals were struck to make it more amenable for local law enforcement to work with the feds. That's what's on her mind. Mm-hmm. She would oppose that. All right. So what Chugtai wants to know is, boy, behind those closed doors, did you reach an agreement with these Federalist terrorists to continue haranguing us? Because I want to know that. All right. Right. Wansley is in the nobody is illegal and we're on stolen land camp. Mm-hmm. All right. And she wants money to cover the losses that businesses felt and residents felt who might not be able to have put together the money to pay their rent because they couldn't leave their buildings or were afraid to go to work and what have you. Let's take Wansley first, because Chugtai will also vote for Wansley's ordinance, which would require the taxpayers to cough up money to supplant money that presumably was lost during the brunt of the surge. it dawns on me that Mysterians always create a mess, but we have to pay for it. Mysterians always create a horrendous financial mess. They create financial gaps. And then they use their ideology to excuse the gaps, but on the other hand saying, we need to create ordinances to come up with more money, and if we need more tax money, we'll have to get it, because we have to clean up the mess we made. The mess the Mysterians made was this insistence that there are certain federal laws Minneapolis must ignore. Now, I'm not disputing that ICE behaved horribly here. That's a given. This was a unique situation. You sent in too many ICE agents, many of whom did not display professionalism, to work in a city where the city council and the mayor have vowed not to cooperate with you. That created a firestorm. It helped create the firestorm. So on the one hand, yes, ICE behaved poorly here. It was dreadful. It was a lousy, lousy deal for 72 days. And yes, people were fearful, and there were 2 deaths, and kids were taken, and it was just a bad, bad deal. But you cannot let Mysterians off the hook entirely, because they brought about this forced suspension of any law enforcement whatsoever helping. Even if you would have allowed the Minneapolis cops to show up at ICE raids, ring the perimeter, make sure things were handled quietly, you wouldn't have had 2 murders. You wouldn't have had Renee Good in the middle of the road where she found herself, but she shouldn't have been there. She didn't try to kill the guy, but she shouldn't have been there. And you wouldn't have had Petty wandering into Petty, is that his name? You wouldn't have had him wandering into the street. Right. You would have had Minneapolis coppers saying, all right, stand right here. You get to watch them, blow your whistle if you want, but you're just going to stand back. We couldn't even do that. Because the Mysterians, who think nobody's illegal and we're on stolen land, although these hypocrites have never given back any land, they don't want anything to do with the federal law enforcement. Now, how much of that has to do with Trump, I don't know. I think Chugtai and Wansley would demand this separation ordinance no matter who was the president. They're Mysterians. They don't want laws. They don't want borders. They have nothing to do with actually running a city. They're only there to advance their ideology.
You think they would have been this aggressive if the Biden administration?
And it's a ruinous ideology, and all the proof you need is every time one of their ordinances is enacted on, you get a complete mess that legitimate, hardworking taxpayers have to come in and clean up.
And they don't acknowledge that it's their mess. They blame their mess on somebody else.
Wansley, Chugtai, the rest of you, you are a lot to blame for this mess. And when it comes to the finances, you're to blame. And every time, how much has George Floyd Square cost the public in the last 5 years?
Love to know that.
Millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars of studies that have resulted in nothing, because it was the mess they created at the outset that never got settled, and now you have to pay for their ongoing mess time after time after time. That's why when I say we've elected the wrong people, that's what I mean. These are people not interested in a successful, law-abiding, functioning example of commerce for all. They're only interested in advancing their activist ideology. They know nothing else, and they're in way over their heads trying to run a city. And instead of trying to learn how to run a city, they just end up dragging the city down to their level.
They double down on the dumb.
So it's really, and then you compound this with a mayor who goes along with them for the most part, and a governor who goes along with them 100%. So where are we? We're in our financial mess. You got 2 dead. You had a slapdash 71 days. A lot of that could have been mitigated. I'm not saying the whole thing because there were some bad actors with ICE. Right. But you could have mitigated this considerably if the city of Minneapolis considered itself an actual part of the United States and participated with the laws of this country.
Well, the city of Minneapolis, you said they didn't cooperate. Well, I would add that they went out of their way to thwart the operations. And you remember when it started with that drug bust on Lake Street last summer?
Yeah. Which was legitimately a drug bust that had nothing to do with ICE.
No, but the Minneapolis citizens showed up to protest, and at that point, Minneapolis police were still responding to those type of situations.
And the ideologists like Wansley and Chugtai never mind that their neighborhoods are pathetic. Never mind that businesses have plywood on the windows. Never mind that businesses and landlords are selling and closing. They don't care. They're going to they'll burn it to the ground if they have to, and they're advancing nothing except the ideology of complete corrosiveness. They have nothing to offer the public, and yet you keep voting for them. In the metro area, you keep sending them to office, and they return nothing in the way of common good. Remember, they don't understand the common good. They only understand what they believe to be good assigned by your political identity. We went through that a bit with this Dan Strand the other day. They don't have an idea of the common good. They don't even know what it is. They're not interested in it.
Yeah.
Let me read that sentence again. And then I suppose you want to take a break, Gabe?
Yeah.
But I want to read this sentence. It might take me a minute to find it, but I bet I can find it.
Are you talking Wansley?
No, I'm talking about the guy we had on the other day.
Oh,
Daniel
Dan.
Strand.
Yeah.
I got it here. I got it.
You got that?
I got it somewhere. The dirty little secret. Now, just plug in the names of the Minneapolis City Council. The dirty little secret is that for all their talk of public good, witness Wansley demanding an equitable recovery. The dirty little secret is that for all their talk of the public good, progressives do not, Chugtai and Wansley, do not have a conception of the common good because their conception of justice is rooted in a hierarchy of victimhood. When one pulls back the rhetorical layers of leftist ideologues, one finds a constellation of ideas that are wholly anathema to public good of the city, states, or nation. If politics is about cultivating and maintaining those public goods that are essential for the thriving of a political community, the political policies of Minnesota Democrats have only undermined that basic principle. Identity politics focuses only on difference, what sets us apart, and not on what binds us together. So what Wansley and Chugtai do is that they assign a special goodness to illegal immigrants, people of color, Native Americans, all of whom should be considered instead as all part of us together, all one whole. We're all one whole. They don't see it that way. And what they want is money from who they think are the oppressors that created this situation. They want money from people who actually get up and work and pay their taxes. And they will redistribute that money for an equitable recovery, which is gibberish that means we'll assign the money to our hierarchy of victimhood that we've identified. You people that still work and have a job and pay taxes, you just keep doing that. Because you don't know what you're doing. We do. It's a mistake, and the city might never recover. Seriously.
Might?
The city will not recover.
There you go.
From democratic socialism. If democratic socialism continues in its present form, Minneapolis, St. Paul, and the state of Minnesota will not recover. May I get an amen?
Can I get an amen?
We got to take a time out. But first,
What
yeah.
the citizens of Minneapolis, and for that matter, St. Paul too, what they need is an amazing cup of coffee at a reasonable price. And I can give you that. And now for a limited time, you get free shipping. Get on the internet right now, stroll over to customroasting.net, click on the Garage Logic tab. There you have two options. You can get the GL starter pack, that's with 4 blends, ranging from light roasted to dark roasted and very powerful. But you'll also see the Garage Logic twin pack. Now that package includes 2 1.75-pound bags of whatever roasting level you choose, 2 dark roast blends or 2 light roast blends, at a really nice price and a special deal on shipping, as in free shipping. Just enter the promo code GL at checkout. Now, I did that about a week or so ago, and I'm currently plowing through 1 3/4 pounds of the Boundary Waters blend. Just, oh my goodness, it's so good, a dark roast. Just remember, though, when you get to the checkout, enter that promo code GL, and just like that, you're going to get 3.5 pounds of delicious coffee delivered right to your door with free shipping. The official coffee shop of GL and the Krabby Coffee Shop, customroasting.net.
on the
don't,
top.
Don't even listen to that.
The Earth is not your mother. The Joe Souchere Show.
There it is, John. You're right. We were talking off the air. This wonderful piece in the Minneapolis Times. The headline, Fugitive just wanted to see one GD power play before serving 25 to life. And right there in small green letters, right above the headline, satire.
Satire. First thing I saw.
I was really hoping it was real.
Here's Johnny.
Thank you, Joe. This news, not satire, although some of it fits. This news is brought to you by North American Banking Company. After weeks of calling for a joint and cooperative investigation into the fatal shootings of Renee Good and Alex Preddy by federal immigration agents, state officials have formally received a response from the federal government, a simple no. The Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension announced this morning the FBI has formally notified the agency it will not share access to any info or evidence connected to the Preddy killing. BCA officials say they've reiterated requests for access to evidence for Good's killing, as well as the January 14th shooting of Julio Sosa Silas. However, state officials haven't received a definitive answer on whether or not the feds will reverse course and cooperate in those other two cases. The BCA said in a press release this morning, while this lack of cooperation is concerning and unprecedented, the BCA is committed to thorough and independent and transparent investigations to those incidents, even if hampered by a lack of access to key information and evidence.
I believe Cash Patel and the fellows will handle this with the utmost professionalism.
See, I told you there'd be some
There's
satire
some satire in
involved.
this newscast.
Yeah, satire involved. Speaking of that Sosa Silas case, remember that's the one where the DHS said an officer had been attacked by two men, one with a shovel, one with a broom handle, while the officer was trying to make an arrest. Turns out it didn't happen that way, and now two immigration agents have been placed on leave after making what officials say were untruthful statements about that encounter. In a statement, Acting Director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement Todd Lyons said the agents could be fired and criminally charged after the U.S. Attorney's Office in Minnesota completes an investigation into that matter. Lying under oath is a serious federal crime, Lyons said. The announcement came 2 days after a federal prosecutor in Minnesota sought to dismiss criminal charges against the two men, Julio Cesar Sosa Salas and Alfredo Alejandro Iljorna. The men, who are both from Venezuela, had been accused of beating an ICE officer with a broom handle and a snow shovel. Sosa Silas was shot in the thigh during the encounter, which occurred days after the fatal shooting of Renee Good. A filing from the U.S. Attorney's Office cited newly discovered evidence that he says is materially inconsistent with preliminary hearing testimony and an affidavit filed January 16th against the two men. The motion sought to dismiss the charges with prejudice, indicating they cannot be refiled. A judge granted the request on Friday. A coalition of city leaders across Minnesota is speaking out as federal officials began scaling back immigration enforcement operations in the state. The group is Cities for Safe and Stable Communities, and it involves 17 cities and their mayors. It was formed about 10 weeks ago in response to the federal immigration surge. White House border czar Tom Homan has said, of course, I think things are going in the right direction, and I have faith things will continue that way. Still, some of those local mayors remain skeptical, including Patrick Hanlon. He's the mayor of Hopkins. He said, we'll believe it when we see it. Mayors from the 17 cities make up the coalition representing communities across the political spectrum. Leaders said they're responding to what they describe as long-term impacts from the immigration operation. Meanwhile, Minnesota sheriffs say there has been no change in their dealings with immigration officials, despite Homan's claim that part of the reason for agents leaving is the cooperation they're getting. Hennepin County Sheriff WWII actually held a press conference, said the impending departure of roughly 2,000 remaining federal agents comes as a significant relief for the community and law enforcement alike, adding that local authorities know the trust has been eroded and shaken. While she didn't call anyone out specifically, the sheriff blamed influential leaders for spreading misinformation, rumors, and confusion. The Star Tribune says it polled sheriffs in 87 Minnesota counties. They got return answers from about 40% of the sheriffs. They responded. All said they had changed no policies in regard to dealing with national immigration officials.
John, I have a survey in front of me taken by the American Experiment, or the American Experiment is revealing the results from an NBC Carol Evan Minnesota Star Tribune poll. Finding that Minnesotans are generally unhappy with the federal government's enforcement operations. What about state authorities? When asked, do you think local police in your community should cooperate with federal immigration authorities to deport people who are in the country illegally? The poll's only question about state and local policy. 38% of Minnesotans polled say that always cooperate. 47% they should cooperate in some cases. So 85% of Minnesotans support cooperation between local police and federal immigration authorities.
A St. Paul woman accused of biting off a Homeland Security agent's finger during protests on the day of Alex Preddy's death
Yeah, what do you want?
Yeah.
has been federally indicted. 27-year-old Claire Louise Feng was charged by a Minnesota federal grand jury with inflicting bodily injury on a Homeland Security investigation special agent January 24th. According to court documents, Customs and Border Protection and HSI officers were trying to establish a secure perimeter between Nicollet Avenue, between 27th and 28th Streets in Minneapolis after the shooting, while a CBP officer tried to arrest a person who threw a chemical canister back toward federal law enforcement. Feng tackled the CBP officer. An HSI agent then took Feng to the ground, which is where she allegedly bit off, severing the tip of his right ring finger and leaving the bone exposed. Another woman, Emily Bear, was also charged with one count of forcibly assaulting a federal officer and committing bodily harm. Prosecutors say that an officer tried to arrest her after seeing her throwing things at law enforcement, including throwing chemical agents that law enforcement had used back at the agents. A struggle ensued, and the agent tried to take off Beryl's mask, during which Beryl forcibly bit the agent's middle finger, that agent wearing gloves but was still injured, according to court documents.
See, to me, that wouldn't have happened if the Minneapolis cops were allowed to intervene.
Right, but since it did, I hope this agent learns about the local outfit, Paul's Prosthesis Palace.
Right, he can get that
He can get the
fixed.
finger right out there, attach it right on.
It's like a fireworks accident.
Yes.
When you go to Endless Wings Night and you put one in your mouth and you kind of debone it in your mouth. Wow, gross.
That's got to be a hard
raw.
bite. She's got
not
some
even
choppers.
cooked.
I hate to ask this.
With the fingernail too?
What is an endless wing tonight?
That was a weird flex. Yeah, I will agree.
You don't know about?
Is that where you have a meat raffle?
No, that's
You
where
don't know about
just,
wings?
You get an endless. They
Again, the evidence and proof that you hate fun comes out again.
Are they drummies?
Yeah.
Well, I like
chicken
drummies.
wings.
Yeah.
You're
But I've
playing
never been
bingo
to.
up at the
I don't
hall.
need them to be
You're
endless.
at a meat raffle. The whole thing.
Yeah.
And lawmakers are coming back to the Capitol this week, starting today.
Oh, boy.
Tomorrow.
Can't wait.
Tomorrow, I'm sorry, you're right, Kenny. Many Minnesotans expect action on key issues from gun reform to fraud oversight. People across the Twin Cities are making priorities clear. At memorials for Alex Preddy and Renee Good, community members have expressed their concerns, urging state leaders to mainstream focus on the issues. Our friends at 5 Eyewitness News asked Facebook viewers about the priorities. Responses varied from taxes, education, and sports betting to protecting the boundary waters. However, many comments focused on voter ID and fraud. Lawmakers themselves are divided on which issues they will actually cover. Speaking of the boundary waters, a rare letter to Republican senators, 4 descendants of former President Teddy Roosevelt say they oppose mining near the Minnesota wilderness area. Teddy Roosevelt IV says he doesn't like to put words in a dead man's mouth, but he says he's pretty sure President Theodore Roosevelt, his great-grandfather, would have been appalled by the effort by House Republicans to allow mining near an expansive wilderness in Minnesota. So he said he and several relatives recently wrote to Republican senators urging them against allowing mining upstream from the Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness.
Quick question. Do you think this guy, the fourth, introduced himself to somebody like Souchere saying, hi, I'm Ted? Or do you think he says, I'm Theodore Roosevelt the fourth?
He actually goes by Ted.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, I
Impressive.
said Teddy, and I shouldn't have. He goes by Ted Roosevelt the fourth.
Okay.
So officially what he goes by. And apparently he was a big shot. Let's see. I had that somewhere.
So he's not just cashing in on his great-grandfather's namesake.
No, he was a big shot in business. I had it somewhere, but I've misplaced it.
Would
Apparently.
we call him the Quattro?
The Quattro.
The Quattro.
Why don't we
I'm
take
seeing him in some LL Bean
Yeah,
shoes.
a little precious.
Yeah.
LL Bean is the
tweed,
finest. They are the finest garment manufacturer in the world.
tweed
I thought it was
sport
Peterman's.
Are you taking a break, John? Because
Well,
I have
yeah,
a hot tip I've been sitting on.
Trying to, but
All
let's
right.
go on.
This tip is for ill-running small engines, and it comes to you directly from my twin nephews when they were teenagers.
They know what they're doing.
Those kids were making bank at a very young age, repairing and reselling lawnmowers. And here's a side tip. They got sick of doing that and just started selling parts and did way better. But back to the Seafoam. An ill-running engine, they would dump Seafoam motor treatment into a spray bottle. They'd get that thing running, and it's sitting there choking and stumbling and backfiring. And they would just constantly spray the Seafoam right into the carb. They'd keep doing it until the engine dies. They'd refire it, and they'd do it sometimes up to 4 or 5 times. But in the end, the engine was purring. I actually witnessed and videotaped it for myself. Now, fast forward a couple of years, they get their driver's license. I let them drive my plow truck for the summer. They start getting on me about this, that, and the other, and all the carbon deposits in the crankcase. And evidently, they were plugging up the oil pressure sending unit oil filter. It's about the size of a pencil eraser. So they dump a whole can of Seafoam right into this crankcase. They drive it, I don't know, a couple hundred miles, change the oil. They did that twice that summer. And lo and behold, I haven't had a problem with that sending unit filter since. Just a couple of Seafoam tips from a couple of teenagers, just motorheads like you and I, GLers. And by the way, you can find more tips like this right on seafoamworks.com, and you can find Seafoam motor treatment almost everywhere. A wonderful product in a world of bad gas. Seafoam. Johnny?
Thanks, Kenny. Let me give you Ted Roosevelt's resume, so I don't want to shortchange him. Ted Roosevelt IV is a veteran investment banker currently serving as a managing director and chairman of the Clean Tech Initiative at Barclays in New York. Former Navy SEAL, he focuses on holding leadership roles, including board chair at the Center for Climate and Energy Solutions and secretary of the Climate Reality Project. So that's what Ted.
I stand corrected. Then I
You used the
misjudged
word
him.
precious.
Yeah,
You know,
Ain't no seal
There's
precious.
no seal that's. I don't know
Yeah,
about that.
in all cases, this happens with me across the board. You can be going on like you just were, John, and in my head I'm going, blah, 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 who cares? And then you say Navy SEAL, and I'm like, 10.
Okay, he's got my attention. Yep.
Now I have respect.
In national and international news, new forensic testing shows Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny was likely killed with epibotidine, a powerful neurotoxin found in South American poison dart frogs. That according to 5 European governments. The UK, France, Germany, Sweden, and the Netherlands said that independent lab analysis detected the rare toxin in preserved tissue samples from Navalny's body. They argue there's no credible natural explanation for its presence and have reported the findings to the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons as a potential violation of international law.
Those bastards got him with frog juice.
Frog juice, yeah. Scientists note epibotidine is not known to occur naturally in Russia, although lab synthesis is possible. Even tiny amounts disrupt the nervous system, causing paralysis, respiratory failure, and finally death. Navalny died February 16th, 2024, while serving a lengthy prison sentence in a remote Arctic penal colony. Russia denies any involvement, saying he died from natural causes. President
Caused
Trump,
by poison.
President Trump said yesterday members of his newly created Board of Peace have pledged $5 billion toward Gaza reconstruction efforts, will commit thousands to personnel to maintain security and peace in the territory. The president plans to host the board's inaugural meeting this week, Thursday, at the Donald J. Trump Institute of Peace in Washington, where he said in his Sunday Truth social
No
post,
such a place existed.
the pledge will be formally announced. The president's post on Sunday did not specify which member nations were making the pledges or would contribute personnel. However, an Associated Press report says Indonesia's military expects up to 8,000 of its troops to be ready by the end of June for a potential deployment to Gaza as part of a humanitarian and peace mission. Over the weekend, the U.S. Department of Justice said it has released all of the files required by the Epstein Files Transparency Act, but lawmakers argue the release is insufficient. A letter sent to members of the U.S. Congress from U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi and her deputy on Saturday said all documents held by the DOJ had been released. Millions of new files relating to the late sex offender Epstein were released by the DOJ earlier this month. At that time, the Deputy Attorney General said 3 million pages had not been released. In the latest letter, Bondi and Blanche wrote in accordance with the requirements of the Act and as described in various department submissions to the courts. The department has released all records, documents, communications, and investigative materials in the possession of the department.
I wonder if those files have reached the status of UFO files. You always hear that the government will not release UFO proof or evidence because they don't think the public could take it. Maybe it's the same with these. Maybe they're so horrific and so horrible that they think the American public couldn't take it.
I can see that.
Following numerous splits from Hollywood mogul Casey Wasserman after his appearance in the new batch of Jeffrey Epstein files, the executive says he's selling his talent agency that he founded and headed since 2002. Wasserman is the chairman of the 2028 Los Angeles Olympic Organizing Committee. He announced the sale in a staff memo. He said it had become a distraction at the agency because it bared his name. The 51-year-old Wasserman has been adamant he never had a personal or business relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. For the time being, he says Mike Watts will assume day-to-day control of the business. When sold, it is unclear what will happen, he says, to the agency's roughly 4,000 employees, which Wasserman called the absolute best in the business. Among the acts leaving Wasserman after the release of the files with his interactions with Ghislaine Maxwell was Twin Cities band Hippocampus.
Well, wait a minute here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
If this Wasserman fellow can demonstrate that he wasn't up to anything untoward, why doesn't he stand his ground?
I don't know.
Why should he be forced to lose his agency?
He has had, I don't know if you've read these stories, I'll bet 20 different important clients leave in the last 2 weeks.
I know.
Maybe he thinks with his name attached, it'll lose money, the agency will die, everybody's broke, including him.
Right.
That's my guess, I would think. I don't know. Yeah, he says all he did was trade some emails with Ghislaine Maxwell, and they had nothing to do with sex or minors or anything like that.
Okay, and let's for the sake of argument, saying that's absolutely true.
Mm-hmm.
Well, can't he demonstrate that that's true? He could show you the emails.
Well, I think
Leave
the
me
emails
alone, people. I didn't do anything with this screwball.
I think the emails have been released, haven't they?
Well, whatever.
Anyway,
Never
I've read
mind.
some that don't seem to indicate anything.
The Wasserman guy's not a local guy, though, correct?
This is L.A., Matt.
L.A.
L.A.
Hippocampus is a local band.
But see, Matt, booking agents and managers, they can have clients that live in Dubai.
You don't have to be just in
Right,
Minnesota.
right.
Okay.
Isn't it fun watching Hollywood flee from Hollywood?
Yeah.
Did you see the latest in regards to, remember last week, Joe, you were all up in arms finally, 20 years later, about AI?
Yeah.
Well, there's an AI video of Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise throwing hands.
Oh, I think I saw that.
And now all of Hollywood is upset because they fear that they will be replaced with AI.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to tip my cap to you, Mr. Souchere, because you probably saw in Saturday's Wall Street Journal the entire column by
Schumer.
the former writer for Ronald Reagan speeches, the female, the heck's her name?
Barry Weiss?
No, the female for Ronald Reagan. She wrote, help me out here. She has a column every Saturday in the Wall
I'm
Street
gonna have to
Journal.
look it up.
She broke down the exact
Peggy
same
Noonan.
article.
Peggy
Peggy
Noonan.
Noonan, thank you.
right.
Broke down the same article that you broke down.
Yeah.
In essentially the same exact terms.
Right.
That you did. It was,
Thank you.
I looked at it and I thought,
I swear to God, people listen to this show. They
does
just
she-
don't tell us.
Did she go on to say WD-40 should be a cologne or no?
No, that was Adam Carolla.
Oh, sorry.
we have moved a long way in a short period of time. Remember when Bill Clinton had to lie about inhaling weed so it
Yes.
didn't
Yes.
ruin his political life?
Yes.
Well, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s admission that he snorted cocaine off toilet seats amid his struggle with drug
You got to have a
addiction
better play than that.
has led to detractors, including a prominent healthcare advocacy group calling for his resignation. Protect Our Care, a nonprofit advocating for better and more affordable health care, issued a statement after Kennedy's confession on comedian Theo Von's podcast, which aired on February 12th. He said, with this past statement today that I'm not scared of a germ. I used to snort cocaine off toilet seats. That's what Kennedy said to Vaughn. Critics have lambasted the health secretary over myriad issues, ranging from vaccines to fluoride in drinking water to new dietary guidelines. USA Today reached out to HHS for comment.
I think you have to have a better story, like the cop on Reno 911, the way she wanted to ingest her cocaine after winning the lottery. Had to do with the evidence room and one of her fellow employees.
Yeah.
A death this morning in Hollywood. One of, I think, personal opinion, our best actors, Robert Duvall, has died.
Oh, boy.
Duvall, Oscar-winning actor whose career across 7 decades included memorable roles in Tender Mercies, The Godfather, Apocalypse Now, and many more, has died. He was 95 years old. His death confirmed by his wife. He was known for his ability to play a wide array of characters, from tough guys to those dealing with personal trauma. Duvall's feature film debut, playing the reclusive Boo Radley in the 1962 classic To Kill a Mockingbird. He was a 7-time Academy Award nominee, winning only for his leading role in Tender Mercies in 1984. He played a washed-up country music singer who finds himself falling in love with a widow who runs a local hotel, wakes up in one day and must eventually decide whether to keep his new life or go back to his career. He also won an Emmy in 2007 for Outstanding Lead Actor in a miniseries as Prentice Ritter in Broken Trail. Other roles Duvall was known for were the title character in George Lucas's dystopian sci-fi tale THX 1138, Major Frank Burns in Robert Altman's film MASH, Ned Pepper in 1969's True Grit. He also played in 1997's The Apostle and as the crew chief Harry Hogue in the NASCAR-inspired Days of Thunder in 1990. Duvall also had several credits as a producer and director and lent his singing voice to several soundtracks, including Tender Mercies, The Apostle, and Crazy Heart.
He was really good in Tender Mercies. I do remember
Excellent.
that movie.
Yeah, it's like
Did he go back to his career or stay with the gal? I didn't see it.
I saw it, but it's been so long I don't remember.
Yeah.
It was
He
a
was
wonderful
so good that
film.
when you watched him in a role, you completely forgot about the last role he played.
Yeah.
I mean, just compare Apocalypse Now to The Godfather. How vastly different those roles were.
Yeah. And if, like Tender Mercies, Rick brought up, if you saw that and then if you saw The Great Santini, where he played the dad.
I
it was
did
just
see The
nuts.
Great Santini.
The two they couldn't be any different.
Just
roles.
an absolute master of
Well,
the
I guess
craft.
that's why they call it acting.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah.
A highly...
a number of
Wait.
spouses.
That scene on the beach in Apocalypse Now, right,
Oh,
where
yeah.
he gives that napalm speech.
Yeah.
My favorite part of that is he kind of trails off at the end of that, and he goes, "Someday this war is going to end," and he sounds sad about it
Yep.
because he's having such a good time.
His dad was a rear admiral in the Navy, and his mother was related to General Robert E. Lee.
I'll be damned.
Yep. He was a Republican.
A highly decorated World War II hero celebrated a rare milestone about a week ago. It was yesterday, a week from yesterday, when he turned 101 years old. Master Sergeant Ed Beck from Colorado Springs served with the 106th Infantry Division during the Battle of the Bulge. He was captured by German forces and survived 6 months of brutal treatment as a POW in a labor camp. He made a daring escape during a work detail, found his way back to the American lines. That seems like enough, right? But, that's not all as far as his service goes. After World War II, he fought in Korea. After Korea, he fought in Vietnam.
Jeez.
In total, he served 30 years in the U.S. Army. Today, at the age of 101, he remains active in the community, shares his story to raise awareness for PTSD and suicide prevention amongst veterans. Friends and family gathered at the American Legion Post in Fountain, Colorado on his birthday last Sunday for a special birthday celebration where he blew out candles and showed off his medals. He said, "I never thought I'm going to be this old. I figured if I get to about 90 or something like that, I'll be going. But the good Lord up there is keeping me alive for something.
Also, Robin Wansley and Aisha Chugtai could be city council members and try to reinvent the city.
He fought for that right.
Yep.
John, before you continue, may I just go back to Robert Duvall quickly?
Sure.
And give the mayor a tidbit of information. While he was training as an actor, he worked in Manhattan as a post office clerk.
Oh, I really like him now.
Yeah.
No mail today.
No, he'd be off today.
Yeah.
Well, he is, I guess.
I tried to go read my Wall Street Journal today, Joe. That was a mistake. Huh?
Didn't arrive.
There was none, yeah. No Wall Street
You guys
Journal.
try to be a traffic reporter on a day like today.
Oh, what do you do, Ken?
It was just nothing but good news. It made me sick to my stomach.
Route 66 turns 100 this year. Stretches almost 2,500 miles, spans 8 states, beginning in Chicago, ending in Santa Monica. Established in 1926 as a way to connect isolated rural communities, Route 66 captures a nostalgic era of Americana, one filled with neon signs, diners, and classic cars. As the country celebrates its own birthday this year, 250th, a lot of travelers are interested in taking their own Route 66 road trip, with interest in the famous highway on TripAdvisor surging by 20% year over year, according to the travel platform. Road trippers can make pit stops at historic sites and quirky landmarks like the 66-foot-tall soda bottle at Pop 66 Soda Ranch in Arcadia, Oklahoma.
You know what's better than that?
What?
Just get on any state highway and follow it from one side of the state to the other. An actual small, state highway
sure.
that goes through all the small towns. That is a wonderful drive.
Is it a sign of aging that in the last couple of years, I like in summer just to hop in the car, me and my wife, and we'll go drive in the country, anywhere. We don't care.
No, I don't think it is. I
we'll
think
get
it's a
lost.
sign of
That
wanderlust.
Oh, it's just
That's
wonderful.
kind of a country thing to do, but we bring refreshments and firearms and
It was a common thing in America for people, we've talked about this before, to go for a ride.
Especially on a Sunday
On a
afternoon.
Sunday.
Can we go for a drive?
Let's go for a ride.
Yes.
People would just drive around.
we still do it.
Yeah, well, you do. Yeah, we don't. In the sustainable urban core, we frown on that.
You know why, Joe? You don't like to have fun.
Can I? We don't need to take a break, do we? Or do we? Just tell me. Huh?
Boy, I would like to stand up and stretch my legs.
All right. I got to tell you something. I've been
Really?
sitting on this.
Oh,
No, we'll take a break when I'm done with this. Let me find it here.
I've been sitting on my ass too today.
The last week, I think Trump did a great thing. The EPA, at long last, repealed Barack Obama's so-called endangerment finding that declared greenhouse gas emissions a threat to public health and society and safety. Let me just stop right there. I've heard the typical response from Mysterians and Euphorians, and we're all going to die, that this is terrible, and I've heard it very in close proximity. I've heard that, and I said, don't worry about it. The car you buy 6 months from now is going to be no different. It's BS. But here's what people have to remember about this. This is from the Wall Street Journal Friday. It was the lead editorial, and I really appreciated what it did. Progressives recognize the importance of Thursday's news. A New York Times headline says Trump allies near total victory in wiping out U.S. climate regulation. And the Journal notes, well, that could be true if the administration prevails against the inevitable legal challenge. But here's the key that you got to remember. In 2007, a 5-4 majority of the Supreme Court ruled in Massachusetts versus EPA that greenhouse gases qualify as pollutants under the Clean Air Act. Greenhouse gases. The law requires the EPA to regulate pollutants if it determines they can reasonably be anticipated to endanger public health or welfare. Thus arose the Obama endangerment finding, which established the legal basis for the EPA to regulate CO2, which wasn't mentioned in the Clean Air Act because it's not a pollutant. Carbon dioxide is not, you breathe it. It's not a pollutant. Yet the Mysterians managed to shove that into the Clean Air Act. So it stands to reason if it's in the Clean Air Act, you'd have to regulate it. Well, that's like regulating air that you breathe.
Nope.
So it was utter BS by the Mysterians, who don't want you to own a lawnmower, much less a car. So they were cheering this back in 2007, but it's all BS. Greenhouse gases are not toxic and do not affect air quality, unlike pollutants that the law expressly directs the EPA to regulate. That law hasn't been changed. It's the endangerment part of it that's been changed. The Obama endangerment finding claims that distinction doesn't matter. Well, it does, because CO2 contributes to rising temperatures, which could indirectly result in downstream harms such as more wildfire storms and disease. B as in B, S as in S. The weather's no different today than it was 100 years ago. All right. So all that's been changed is you can't regulate carbon dioxide. I don't know how they would have anyway.
Well, they don't think about
It's
stuff
carbon monoxide that you got to worry about.
Right.
If you're getting sleepy, maybe open a window.
Yeah.
Crack a window. Eric.
Much
Your
of the
foot down, but
science,
open a window.
much of the science, in quote marks, in the Obama finding is debatable, as the Trump team notes. The impact of greenhouse gases on global temperatures is intermediated by such factors as cloud cover and urbanization, and the effect on storms is disputed. Didn't we just have maybe the lightest hurricane season on record?
Yep.
Yeah. In any event, curbing CO2 emissions in the U.S. will have scant impact on climate because emissions are rapidly rising in China, India, and developing countries. The real import of the finding was to give the Obama and Biden teams legal license to mandate electric cars and force fossil fuel power plants to shut down. Trump EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin has moved to roll back the Biden regulatory overreaches. But as long as the endangerment finding is in effect, a future Democratic president could reimpose the Biden climate diktats and go even further, say by banning petroleum-powered lawnmowers and gas space heaters or stoves, for no reason that the mystery does not like the way the United States works. And they're out to destroy. The mystery is out to destroy it. Biden played a minor theatrical role. Biden played a role, but the mystery is powerful. It wants to happen. And Trump said, no, this is BS. Well, if you throw enough stuff at the wall, if Trump throws enough out there, some of it sticks. Well, that did stick.
Yeah.
There's more, though. I have more good news regarding that topic, and it comes from the EPA itself last Thursday.
They're unelected bureaucrats, by the way.
It's saving American taxpayers over $1.3 trillion.
Yep.
Does everything you just mentioned, plus it gets rid of the federal emission standards for all vehicles and engines from 212 to 227 and beyond, and it also eliminates all off-cycle credits, including for the universally hated start-stop feature.
Oh, that button, yeah.
It restores consumer choice, makes more affordable vehicles available, decreases the cost of living on all products by lowering the cost of trucks. So it's a pretty big deal.
It's a wonderful deal, and you're not going to die because the EPA finally got rid of the Endangerment Act, which was to include non-pollutants as a pollutant. They got away with that.
Yep. They snuck one
They
by.
basically said air is a pollutant. So when you hear people say, "Oh no, our cars will be just spewing smoke," and what do you think that Ford's going to go back and start putting in carburetors from 1948? No, Detroit was so far ahead of this curve anyway. Remember, Minnesota abandoned its own emissions testing. Mm-hmm. Remember that?
Yep.
We used to have to go into
They'd stick the needle
into
in
the
there.
stall, and a guy'd stick a stethoscope under your car and pretend he was trying to look for something, and then you got to drive away. We don't even have to do that anymore because the cars are cleaner than they've ever been, and they will continue to be. And the electric cars, which are fine if that's your cup of tea, they were forced on the American public. Mm-hmm. They were not there as a result of market demand. They were forced on the American public. Some people love them. Some others don't want to own them. So it's
If they
fine.
ever bring, go
Go
ahead,
ahead, Matthew.
If they ever bring back the emissions buildings or that program, I will say that a nice little can of seafoam as you glide up into that bay is going to get you right through.
There you go. Yeah. A nice cheat.
Yep.
But this has been a long time deal with the Democrats trying to legislate public behavior. And Obama did a lot of this across the board for all sorts of different things.
If I have to say it again for your benefit, I'll say it.
Please do.
Obama is not my guy ideologically.
Thank you.
But I've said it 15 times.
Oh, I want to hear it 15 more times.
And all you said is, you don't like to have fun.
Well, can I stand up now, please?
Yeah, right after I do this.
Oh.
We've had a beautiful warm stretch, but you know we're not done with winter, and that means your garage door isn't done with winter. If she's acting up, get a hold of Precision Garage Door. Maybe you need a new door. Precision Door has models for every budget. And right now, $500 off for GLers, which includes the new door and the up and down machinery. The machine, the opener, operator. If you like your current door, but she's acting up and you're a little nervous about if she's going to make it, get a Precision Door, noisy door tune-up special, and they throw the diagnostics at it.
Yeah.
See,
Yes,
you can
yes.
get that all tuned up and figure out what you need to keep that baby running in top form. Winter can do a number on your garage door, and maintenance reduces future wear and breakdowns. Book online at Precision Door MN, one word, precisiondoormn.com, or call 612-263-6985 to schedule your free on-site new door estimate with Precision Door, or schedule a Precision Door noisy door tune-up special. What are we doing?
It's the end of the world as we know it, and he feels fine. Joe Souchere.
Going back to the newsroom.
I just wanted to tell you guys and listeners, because I find this fascinating. I found it by accident this morning. There's a new Substack called inpursuit.org, and every week they're going to put an essay about a president on that Substack. Today, the first one is out, and it's on George Washington. They're going to go in order, and it's written by George W. Bush.
Really?
And all the essays are supposed to be between 12 and 1,300 words.
Mm-hmm.
And they have historians and other politicians doing some of these. They have the list there for the entire year, but they're only going to put them out on Mondays. So today, they'll also have some first ladies included. So today was George Washington by George W. and a thing on Martha Washington by Karen Wolfe. And it looks fascinating. So I just thought people might be interested. It's inpursuit.org/schedule.
Do I have to pay? I'm looking at
No,
it
no.
now.
No.
I don't see one. Okay.
In Pursuit.
inpursuit.org/schedule. Then just click on the president.
Along those lines, I would like to discover, I'm sure it exists, I just haven't pursued it. I would love to discover a shipwreck finding website. I was inspired by the story today of the steamship just discovered in Lake Michigan off Milwaukee that's been being looked for about 70 years, and a guy found it. And apparently this shipwreck locators are engaged in a highly competitive field. They don't tell each other their clues, and when they get a clue, they don't share it. They follow up on it and see if it pans out. And it just strikes me it would be. I think I would love to be a crew member on a boat that's looking for wrecks.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That would be
It
what I
looks
want
like,
to do.
Frustrating but cool.
Yeah.
Looks like you're going to have a lot of fun here. I'm seeing wrecksite.com,
Yep.
shipwreckworld.com,
That's the one I'm on.
shipwrecks.com, the NOAA Office of Shipwrecks.
Okay, I'm
there's all
not
sorts of stuff.
interested in ocean wrecks so much as Great Lakes wrecks.
Why?
So I think I'll narrow my search.
Just because it's...
I don't know. I'm so intrigued by the Great Lakes. I love them.
You could go to the Minnesota Historical Society. They have something on Great Lakes, or Lake Superior anyway.
As many as 20,000 boats have gone down in the Great Lakes. That's an estimate.
Really?
And most of them have not been found.
Oh, wow.
Not to mention the Northwest Airlines passenger plane in Lake Michigan that went down in about 52 or 53. That's yet to be found.
The shipwreckworld.com that Kenny mentioned, as soon as you open it, it goes to the one that you were already talking about. That was in today's paper.
What was the name of that one, John?
The Elgin, Illinois, Pioneer, Illinois Shipwreck.
La Belle?
No, Lac LaBelle.
Lac LaBelle,
Lac LaBelle.
which Lake LaBelle. And it was a high-end one. It was for the people that had a few bucks, and it was built in 1860. I think it went down much later than that.
1872.
It set off in a gale from Milwaukee to Michigan and didn't make it.
There's a guy I follow on Facebook. You may have heard of him, David Freiberger, who is a part of Roadkill Garage and whatnot on Motor Trend. He's also into history and shipwrecks, and he yesterday published a photo on his Facebook of a tractor strapped to the deck of the USS Hornet at the bottom of the South Pacific. Again, that's not... Yeah, but the Hornet was the actual carrier that delivered B-25s close enough for Doolittle's raid in Tokyo.
Cool.
What can you imagine the stuff you'd find if you could drain the oceans?
I wouldn't want to drain the oceans because what would you?
Maybe somebody's watch, something like that.
Somebody's watch.
A
There's a lot
can.
of cool stuff on the internet, huh?
There really is.
I lost some flip flops once in White Bear Lake.
They'll probably show up.
I watched my grandpa accidentally throw his fishing rod into a lake.
Whoops.
Yeah, probably still there.
We've got a pond near our town called the Brickyard Pond where there used to be a brick factory.
Yeah.
And there was always talk that there was a steam engine down there. And Joe, our buddy Jewel, strapped on the gear and went down there, and all he found was leeches. Nothing but
Really?
leeches.
Ooh, really?
So she
Murky
down.
Well,
waters, huh?
didn't the lake detective find a locomotive?
Yes.
Yeah, he found a locomotive.
Yep.
Only because they come to us. Where are we? He doesn't say. Where are we?
And those of you that are on Crystal Lake in Burnsville, if you dig
We're
deep
still
enough into the muck,
Yeah.
you will find a high-end drone that was attacked by an eagle years ago.
We're still in Penguin, Tasmania, and Tom Lyman notes, Kenny asked, does anyone's wife make pizza? Yes, Jessica makes homemade pizza by hand several times a year. She makes everything from scratch, not processed. The crust, every ingredient, hand-grated cheese, etc.
I think we should have a cook-off.
I think that she should bring us a homemade pizza when we have them in as guests when they're back in May.
I
Double
think I will
sausage.
be in the office on the day that happens.
Yeah.
You'll be over COVID?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
It was
you look
on.
a lot better today.
It was on this day,
February 16th.
1855. Faribault was platted. Trader Alexander Faribault, son of Jean Baptiste and Pelagie Faribault, had settled there in 1826. On this day,
Probably work on its name.
on this day,
February 16th.
the Minnesota State Agricultural Society was incorporated, replacing the Territorial Society that had previously existed. I think the State Agricultural Society are the people behind the curtains of the state fair.
They are indeed.
On this day,
Even though your
February
conspiracy
16th.
is somebody gets a check.
on this day in 1864, it's one of my favorites in this day in history. I remember this from this day.
What is this?
The Waseca County horse thief detectives were organized in Wilton, one of several such settler colonist groups that continued to hold social meetings after 1880. And when horse thieving became a thing of the past, it focused its energies on tracing stolen cars.
That's pretty cool.
You know, the Metro needs the horse thief detectives.
Yep. Let's
Only
bring
they're
them
going
back.
after cars.
Bring them back.
We had this same discussion a year ago.
Well, yeah, because this is
remember
this
that.
day in history. It happened last year, too, on this day.
This very day.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it have been on a Sunday last year, though?
Well, this very day being
leap year.
meeting the 16th of Feb.
Yeah. Wouldn't that have been a Sunday last year?
John?
John, that's rookie life.
John, get out of my
John?
fantasy.
Well, isn't
Where are you,
it?
John?
John?
I'm not lying.
John?
John?
On this day in Minnesota sports disappointment history,
February 16th.
well, a bad sign. It was on this day in 1993 that Norm Green visited Dallas. And that probably set the table
Yeah,
for
that was the first of many. Huh?
See you later, huh?
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you, GL.
Damn it anyway.
Yeah.
Are you issuing a Olympics spoiler alert?
No,
for Monday
because I
Night
don't
Sports
believe in
Talk?
those. I believe telling the public anything.
This is a primetime preview.
Who won? Where'd
it
Kenny
off.
go? Who won?
I don't know. He's frozen.
I'm right here.
I can't see. All I can see is the other thing.
I'm not saying anything because I don't want Maria mad at me.
That's true.
Well, I don't care if Maria gets mad.
Well, I
Maria can
do.
plug her ears.
Joe,
Your
I
ears,
care
Maria,
about
yeah.
people,
Sister.
Joe. I like having fun.
Thank you.
Joe.
Just Pat's trying to
I
say
think Pat
something,
is
but I don't.
revealing all sorts of results
I
for
can't hear
primetime
what he's
preview.
saying. Yeah, the games are on
Maria's
during the
being
day.
taken to
If you're that interested, watch them.
Stop watching
Stop
and asking.
watching and ask them. Start watching and stop asking.
I really.
We are in 4th place as far as the medal accounts.
Are we?
Yeah.
I think the U.S.
Let's start turning it on right now.
I think the U.S. in general has its dauber down. You know?
We just have to admit we're not the best in all areas, although we are killing it in hockey.
Well, no, the NHL is.
Well, same thing. USA.
So it's the NHL team, right? There's not a single member of the American team who's not an NHLer. Well, what does Denmark do for a team? They don't have any NHLers.
Bunch of losers.
Yeah, they suck.
They got 1 or 2, don't they?
Pat, you got to quit talking if we can't hear you.
Hey,
Yes, they get beat. I know that.
they lost.
Gabe, do something about the screen, Gabriel.
Oh, kill